Sorry to interrupt. I understand we're discussing a civil war.
The Commonwealth are gonna kill us all.
Unless I can stop it.
Really interested in what Fallout on Prime is doing with the Brotherhood this season, especially after the previews at the end of episode 1. So we see the Brotherhood suggest that there's going to be a civil war between the east and the west coast of the Brotherhood of Steel. And while they're a bit crazy, the Brotherhood of Steel is one of my favourite factions in Fallout. It's got the most interesting lore. It's also the oldest faction in Fallout, where it's been there since the very beginning, since the first game, and how they've evolved over time and how they even started is really fascinating. And I won't go into the entire lore of the Brotherhood right now because I would have a very, very long video. I am going to talk a little bit about the East Coast Brotherhood and why this is an interesting direction for the show to go in. So prior to Fallout 3, prior to Fallout 3, there wasn't really any separation of the Brotherhood. There was just the Brotherhood of Steel. And in 2255, I think, I haven't looked into this for a while, but around 20 years before the events of Fallout 3, there was a faction, a little group of soldiers, really high up soldiers actually, of Brotherhood soldiers sent from Lost Hills in California to investigate the East Coast and specifically Washington, D.C. The main objective was to recover technology from DC, which was once the nation's capital, to investigate the super mutant threat, which had been causing problems back west, and there was news that there were problems east with them as well. And also to locate a lost patrol that are known as the Midwestern Brotherhood. They went down somewhere in Chicago, but this extra little group was sent to recover them and see what happened to them too. Among this group is the first elder of the East Coast faction, how he would later become to be Elder Lyons, who is still the elder in 2277 and helped James and Catherine, the Lone Wanderer's parents, with Project Purity. Now, when they first went east, Elder Lyons was still a paladin himself, and he had his paladin friends, and they were the ones who were in charge. And they had a good back and forth relationship with the West Coast. They hadn't separated as a faction up until at least after 2267, I think. And the reason we know this and that Elder Lyons had a very high reputation and standing with the West Coast Brotherhood is because Lady Jessica Maxson, who was the widow of Paladin Maxon, there's a lot with the Brotherhood and the Maxons. The Maxons are royalty in the Brotherhood. It's a whole thing. But the point is, she sent her only son, so therefore the only Maxon, the only royal prince essentially in the Brotherhood east, to be raised by Elder Lyons since his father died. So Elder Lyons was a big deal. And sometime between 2267, when Maxon was born and shipped east to Elder Lyons, and 2277 at the beginning of Fallout 3, Elder Lyons and the West Coast Brotherhood were not on speaking terms. There was a complete breakdown of communication. A part of Elder Lyons' group had split off because they didn't like what Elder Lyons was doing with the Brotherhood. It was a whole thing. I can do a video on that another time, the history of the Brotherhood and stuff. Not the point of this video. This is just a bit of background to, set the scene. The reason why all this is interesting is because in Fallout 4, we meet Maxon after the death of Elder Lyons, and Arthur Maxson, the only remaining Maxon in the Maxon line. So it's essentially the last line of the royal family of the Brotherhood, right? And they're super important. The Maxons they're a weird mixture between a prophet and, I said, a king, emperor, prince, whatever you want to call it. So after Elder Lyons passed away, and then after his daughter Sarah Lyons took over as elder of the East Coast, and she also passed away, Arthur Maxson was made elder of the East Coast Brotherhood, and he even brought back the outcasts who went against Elder Lyons when he argued with the West Coast rulers. Again, whole thing, can do a video, whole thing. By the time Fallout 4 rolls around in 2287, when he's 20 years old, he is the elder of the East Coast faction, okay? And that is its own thing, again. But the important thing here is the endings of Fallout 4. So the endings of Fallout 4 are really interesting because from the way I see it, there's only one canonical ending of Fallout 4, right? And that's the ending where you can unite the Minutemen, the Brotherhood, and the Railroad to rally against the Institute. It's like, oh yes, everyone gets together and beats the bad guys, you know? Theo's here for lore talk. But even if, you don't go with that ending, if you go through the other endings, the endings where you blow up the Brotherhood airship, the Pridwin, right? So you blow up Maxson's airship. Even in those endings, you have to go out of your way to kill Maxson himself. He'll survive the wreckage. All this to say is that the Brotherhood of Steel likely survives canonically in the Fallout timeline. And if you read terminals in Fallout 4 through the Brotherhood, so there's a terminal in there, I can't remember who it's by. Oh, please, what are you doing? Oh, God. Oh, okay, sorry. There's a terminal in there, I can't remember who it's by, but they document Elder Maxson's rise to power, okay? And in it, they talk about how basically Elder Maxson got back in contact with the Western Brotherhood, right? So the Brotherhood was essentially united as one. So after bringing the outcasts back when he defeated this super mutant master when he was like 15 and brought the outcasts back into the fold, the Western Brotherhood were like really impressed, right? So the Council of Elders were like super impressed. They were like, oh yes, the Maxson has come to save everyone. And so making history, Elder Maxson became the youngest elder in Brotherhood history, appointed by the Elders Council back west. So there was no there was no split in the Brotherhood anymore. It was just the Brotherhood of Steel, and Elder Maxson is here to rise the ranks. But now it's 9 years later, so Elder Maxson would be around... He's going to be like 30 years old, so that's going to be really interesting to see if they go and introduce the East Coast Brotherhood. They've either gone and killed the only remaining Maxson, which will be insane for Brotherhood lore. It would be like the end of like their figurehead, their prophet. It would be... Or something has happened in the last 9 years between the West Coast Brotherhood that we're seeing in the show, the ones who have like taken over the NCR remnants and are currently like dominating in California by the looks of it. And either option is just very interesting because for the West Coast to go against Maxson, that is like one for the history books. But for Dane to be worried that like the Commonwealth's gonna kill them all, there's a lot of speculation on why. Like, why? What the fuck went down? But yeah, that's something that I've been finding really interesting, and I just wanted to ramble a bit about it with Cleo.